Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, I want to talk about a brand that, for some reason, I'm not quite sure of, seems to get a lot of abuse, but there's certain groups that really seem to like it. And my view of Hublot is it has its number of interesting things about it. And so, but the main thing is we got to understand it, whether we love it or hate it. I'm pretty neutral about it. There are a number of things I like and a number of things that no, not so much. Okay, so let's take a look at this, and we're going to look at three aspects of it. Hublot has what I'll call three grades of movements. The one that probably, if you dig enough, you'll probably find an ETA or a Sellita base to most of the watch's movements, like the Hublot Classic Fusion. This one is going to have a base of a Sellita SW300. But which, as far as Solitas are concerned, is not a bad movement. So anyway, but that's one part of it. Another part is the in-house, and they've got some incredibly good in-house movements. And then a third type of movement is from a a, a well-known and good movement company. Okay, in other words, it's not they're they're more expensive and they're considered to be probably a step up. So you've got three levels here. You've got the in-house, you've got the sort of inexpensive movement, and then you have the more expensive movement. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. Now, this first one, the Hublot Classic Fusion, of all of the ones that I've looked at, this is the one I like the looks of the most. I just like it. You can see there are three variations. One is the black one, the big one there, is probably the most, it reminds me something of combination of, I don't know, a Audemars Piguet, an H. Moser, and some other ones, but it's got its own distinct style to it, and I just like it. And to lower right there, you can see a couple of other ones. Now, the MSRP on this is 7,500 Swiss francs, which is probably right around $8,000. The best deal I could find on a pre-owned market, and this was the Chrono 24, was $38.95. In other words, from the MSRP, it's just the best price that I could find is probably about half, a little more than half of what the MSRP is. So, in terms of a good buy, yeah, that's. I mean, for a collector, that's my view of it. I'm not looking to buy one and sell one. If I bought one for around 4,000, I could probably turn around and sell it for 4,000. So, you know, either way you look at it. Some of the dials of this one are blue. The one I found was 4,300. This is also on Chrono 24. And the other thing that they say is 4,300 or offer, which means or the usually the best offer you can get. They also come with a bracelet that's very integrated into the style of the watch that I like. But again, I have a little, not a big one, but a little issue, even on the pre-owned price, of paying over a couple $1,000 for a watch with a Sellita or an ETA movement. Now, like I said, the SW300-1A is a very good Sellita movement. So, you know, whatever your views on that are fine. I do like the looks of it. Now, moving to the watches with the movement that we'll call an in-house movement. here you've got a big increase in base prices, but you got I think, a big increase in the quality of the movement. Now the caliber here is called HUB 1280, and it's based on an HUB 1240. All right, and essentially what it is, you have a chronograph put on top of a non-chronograph, which is pretty typical, or sort of the basis of it. There are some fundamental changes, though, in the 1280 over the 1240. One of the things I found is sort of a gear tooth regulator that I really liked. You can see it in the lower right-hand corner. To make adjustments, you turn the screw, and it moves this through the teeth of this other mechanism that moves the hairspring, either make it run faster or slower. Now this is a big boy. Well, he's 42 millimeter titanium, so while it's a pretty good size, I mean 42 millimeters, I have some that are that, and I have no problem with it. Some people may. But this is a real tough sports watch. It comes with a rubber strap. I'd prefer, if I had one of these, I'd much prefer a gator strap. I'm not much into bracelets, but still, this has got a movement that is a seriously good movement. Chronograph, flyback, column wheel, very nice. MSRP is $20,800. I found an offer of $93.99, or best offer on Chrono 24. So here you have a brand that they have their own movements, but their own movements are significantly higher than the sort of the more frugal movements like Solitas or ETAs. Now, the third kind that they have is from a better company. Here's one. This is called the Hublot Spirit of Big Bang. I don't know where they got the name. This particular one, 42 millimeters, titanium. It's got a caliber HUB 4700, which is based on a Zenith El Primero 400. Okay, so that I'm going to talk a little more about that in a second. Why Zenith? This is a 5 hertz movement, 36,000 semi-oscillations per hour, which I'm not crazy about the higher ones, but a lot of people like them because of better accuracy. This particular one has a moon phase. Now, these things are not cheap. The base MSRP is $24,100. This one again is less than half price. So, if I were getting one, this is probably something I might like, but I would definitely get it on the pre-owned market. Now, some people want to go to the AD and get a brand new one. Okay, I can't afford that on this. So here's one you might want to consider. Zenith El Primero 400. I like the looks of that a lot. Okay, now the final thing I want to say about this, and I call the mothership. This is part of the LVMH group. Now, you know the Swatch group, the Richemont group, but this group has got a lot of watches in it, not most of which, but some of which you may not have heard of before. It has Bulgari, Chaumet. I was in the picture that I had for this, I have my Chaumet up, indicated as part of this LVMH group. LVMH stands for Moët, Hennessy, and Louis Vuitton. I don't know why they do it that way. They have LVMH and then they have Moët, Hennessy first, and Louis Vuitton second. Some of the watches, this Lepe 1839, there's one that they have shaped like a hand grenade. You ought to take a look at the clocks they have. They are really amazing. They have robotic ones, they have cars, they have all kinds of things with movements, and of course they have sort of more clocks than they are watches. In fact, I'm not even sure if they have any watches. The Fred, I always thought they were women's watches. They're not. A lot of them are, but not this particular one. This is another chronograph. Then they have another one called Reposi. I think that Reposi is the. I don't know if they still have men's watches left. They're still making them. They have them available, and I found some on Every Watch. Um, they're a very interesting looking watch. Tiffany's, the Tiffany's they have, one time Tiffany's had a deal with Vacheron Constantin. They had one with Patek Philippe. But now they're owned by LVMH, and the movements they have tend to be Solitas right now. Now they did something else. Some years ago, Bulgari bought Daniel Roth. They own the name and everything else about it, so as a brand. Now, at some point, Bulgari became part of LVMH. They may have been at the time, I'm not sure. So what they did a few years ago, they decided they were going to revive it. Now, that particular Daniel Roth there is $45,000, which, like, I have a couple of those, and used to be able to get one of those in steel for about a couple, 2-3 thousand. So if you're looking for interesting deals, take a look at some of the pre-owned Daniel Roth watches before they sort of were reintroduced by LVMH. Anyway, so Hublot is part of this larger brand, which includes Zenith. That explains, now I see why they have this particular movement. Why would they pick that? They also have their own movement, as I mentioned. Now, whether or not the watches of Hublot some of the movements are made by La Fabrique du Temps, Louis Vuitton, I'm not sure. All I know are the ones that they have are considered and are in-house movements. They have some by Zenith, and they have some with a Solita base to it. So it's an interesting brand, and it's part of a very interesting, what I call their mothership, LVMH. Anyway, I would really like to hear your comments on this. And like I said, Hublot is got all kinds of different views on it. I'd like to hear yours. It's an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Till next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Outside, the Art and Science of Watch Collection.